Hi, welcome to OT Day at the Capitol 2013 Advocacy in Action. My name is Karen Sames, and I'm the chair of the Government Affairs Committee for MOTA, and one of the co-chairs for this event. OT Day at the Capitol 2012 was a huge success. We had about 100 participants, including students and faculty from all 6 OT and OTA programs in Minnesota, who made contact with their legislators and their legislators' aides and talked to them about occupational therapy. We have 4 purposes for doing OT Day at the Capitol. The first is to educate legislators about occupational therapy. We have many new legislators this year, and we don't know what they know or don't know about occupational therapy. OT Day at the Capitol will help us figure that out. We want to create a visible presence of occupational therapy at the Capitol by having hundreds, hopefully, of people carrying blue folders that say, "Ask me about OT," will be noticed on OT Day and definitely be visible. This year we're going to be promoting a change to our licensure law that will allow us to accept referrals from nurse practitioners, physician assistants, podiatrists, etc., in addition to physicians, specifically for physical agent modalities. And fourth, we want to educate occupational therapy practitioners and students about advocacy and how it's everybody's work to promote the profession. MOTA is the organization that exclusively represents the interests of occupational therapy practitioners in Minnesota. We do get some help from AOTA, but MOTA is totally focused on Minnesota. We have about 800 members, and leadership of MOTA is provided only by volunteers. We do have paid office staff and a paid lobbyist who helps us advocate for the profession. MOTA's mission is to enhance the professional development of its members, promote the profession of occupational therapy, and advocate for the provision of occupational therapy services across all practice arenas, populations, and geographic locations in Minnesota. We are a member-driven organization. Membership and participation are voluntary and essential to the ongoing success of the organization. MOTA seeks to be responsible to the professional, educational, communicative, and political needs of its members. If you aren't currently a member of MOTA, you may still participate in OT Day at the Capitol, and we hope you will, but we also hope you'll consider joining MOTA and strengthening the organization even more by helping us boost our membership. MOTA advocates on 4 different levels. The first is licensure. We look at OT licensure and how can we advocate for making our licensure law better than it currently is, and that's what we'll be doing this year. We also look at what's happening with licensure of other professions, such as physical therapy, chiropractic, or athletic training, to make sure that nothing in their proposed licensure laws would somehow limit occupational therapy practice. We look at reimbursement, for example, medical assistance, workers' compensation, and private insurance, to ensure that occupational therapy remains a covered service under all those plans. We look at state agency regulations. For example, we've worked with the Department of Human Services to improve the definition of occupational therapy, an occupational therapist, an occupational therapy assistant in medical assistance. We also are working with the Department of Health on issues related to fire code and how that impacts occupational therapists working on cooking skills with their clients. And finally, we watch healthcare reform to make sure that occupational therapy is a covered service under the new healthcare reform law. We monitor and comment as necessary to ensure that occupational therapy is something that people think about as they're developing the new plans. A brief overview of the day. Orientation will start at 10 o'clock. We hope that by 11 o'clock People will be starting to meet with their legislators. Those that don't have meetings set up quite that early will be able to take time to explore our beautiful state capitol building and the state office building, and they can sit in on hearings happening during that time and learn about how our government works. By about noon, people should be finishing up their meetings. Those meetings are only going to be 10 or 15 minutes, and then they'll report back to our meeting room to write thank you notes. So let me go through this in a little more detail. Before OT Day at the Capitol can occur, we need to know who your legislators are, and so do you, so you know who you're going to meet with. To do that, go to http://www.gis.leg.min/open layers, and the O in open and L in layers are capitalized, and it's all one word, /elect/ and a screen will pop up. In that, you want to enter your address, your house number, your street name, your city, your state, and your zip code, and then click search. What will happen is a new screen will open up, and there will be a list with your legislative and congressional members. We're interested in your legislative members, not congressional members. So the legislative members are the top two on the list, and they will have a district number followed by an A or a B for the Minnesota House, and the same district number for the Minnesota Senate. Those are the two names you need to know, and the district number you need to know, and that's what you need to let us know so we can set up your appointments for you. You're going to be asked to sign up to participate so that we can coordinate the visits. We'll need to know your name. If you're a student, we need to know your school, your phone number, your email, and who your Minnesota representative and Minnesota senator are, including the district number. If you're a student, you're going to give your information to the OT Day Planning Committee representative from your school. And if you're a practitioner, you will send it to me, Karen Sames, at kmsames@stkate.edu. We need you to do this no later than February 15th, again, so we can coordinate setting up these appointments. We will set up these appointments so that we can group people together. It's much more efficient use of the legislators' time if we can send 3 or 4 or 5 OT students or faculty or practitioners in to meet with them at once, taking up one 15-minute time slot, rather than have everybody make their own appointment and the senator or representative having to spend 15 minutes with 5 different people, each saying the same thing. So please do sign up. We'll coordinate the visit time. We'll tell you what room to go to, and then we'll, like I said, we'll group you with other participants, and you will receive a confirmation email from us telling you what time and who you're meeting with. On February 27th, plan to arrive by 9:30 a.m. We need you to do this because, again, if we have 100 or more participants, it takes a while to sign that many people in. It takes a while to find our room once you're in the Capitol, and of course it takes time to find parking. There is meter parking available at $1.50 an hour. They do take credit cards now. That's new this year. But we would encourage people to carpool in any event because the parking isn't real plentiful. You can also take public transportation. We are hoping to meet in room 217. We don't know that quite yet, but if there's a change in room, it will be announced on the MOTA website and through the MOTA listserv. When you get there, we want you to sign in, and then we're going to ask you to sit according to your legislative district so that you can be sitting with the people you'll be going to these legislative meetings with, and then you can, among yourselves, decide who's going to be the spokesperson for the group. We will provide orientation starting at 10 o'clock. Corey Bennett, the MOTA lobbyist, Kathy Brennan, the Vice President of Advocacy for MOTA, and myself will provide you with information about what we want you to talk about when you meet with your legislators. This will be an opportunity for you to ask us questions, to pick up the materials for your visits, and then, of course, you'll make your visits and then return to our room to write the thank you notes. When you meet with your legislator, relax. Legislators are people too. See if you've got anything in common with your legislator. Ask him about the Vikings, hockey, if we have hockey by then. Talk about the weather. Since you're a constituent, you come from the same community, there might be something happening in your community you can talk about. But just for a couple minutes, make small talk to try and connect with that legislator and get them to connect with you. We will provide you with talking points. We have two main talking points. One is the definition of occupational therapy, and one is the change to our licensure law. We're going to ask you to leave a grip and grin brochure with the legislator. That's an AOTA brochure that says what the legislator can do to avoid hand injuries while they're on the campaign trail, shaking hands, waving at people in parades. And then as you're ready to leave, and remember this whole thing isn't going to take more than 10 minutes, maybe 15. Thank the legislator for listening to you and for meeting with you. After your visit, come back to the room. You're going to return your folder and any extra handouts. You're going to write a short thank you note with the legislator, or to the legislator that you met with, and it will be a short handwritten note. And then if in the course of your conversation with your legislator you made some kind of connection to occupational therapy, they had a niece who needed occupational therapy, a nephew or a son with autism, or their mom had a stroke, or somebody is dealing with dementia, we will have some AOTA fact sheets there and ask you to include the fact sheet that relates to whatever you talked about with your legislator as further reinforcement of your visit. If you can't be there, we have virtual day at the Capitol on the same day, February 27th, 2013. On that day, we would ask that you email your legislators, introduce yourself, tell a story about OT, a success story, or tell how you, if you're a student, how you got interested in OT, and ask the legislator to support our OT legislation, and we'll have hopefully a bill number by then. And include me on the email. You can blind copy me at kmsames@stkate.edu so I can keep track of how many emails were also sent out on that day. And that's it. We look forward to seeing you at the Capitol. Thank you.